Right, so an awful lot of the mechanics work that we're going to be doing in this A2 unit requires us to take a given force, usually, but it could be a velocity, that is at an angle, and split it into a horizontal and a vertical component. And the way that we do that is basically using right angle trig. So as you can see there in the diagram, if we have a force F acting at an angle, in this case above the horizontal of theta, then that would be a vector sum of this Fx horizontal component plus the Fy vertical component. So it kind of turns it into a right angled triangle. So I'll show you with these examples here. So if we take that first one, what we've got is, so this is our positive y direction, that's our positive x direction, and then we've got the force F acting up at 20 degrees, and it's a force of 5 newtons. The horizontal component of that would form the base of the right angle triangle, so that would be our Fx, and then the vertical component would be Fy, and that would be the vertical part of that right angle triangle. So using right angle trig, Fx is the adjacent side, opposite adjacent hypotenuse, so Fx there over what we know, which is the hypotenuse, 5, is adjacent over hypotenuse, which you should know from your trig relationship is cos of the angle, which is 20 degrees. So Fx over 5 is cos 20, so Fx, take the 5 over, is going to be 5 cos 20, and similarly Fy will be opposite hypotenuse, which is sine. So we don't have to do that, we can just recognize that opposite hypotenuse will be 5 sine 20. So we could then evaluate those. Check I'm in degrees, I'm not in degrees, I'm in radians. So angle unit degrees, so 5 cos 20 would be 4.7, and 5 sine 20 would be 1.7 newtons, and they are both acting in the quadrant where x and y are positive, so they would both be positive forces. So if we now look at B, we're still taking y and x to be horizontal and vertical on the page. This time we've got a 2 Newton force acting at 30 degrees. So the Fx this time is going to be negative because it's acting in the negative x direction, but the Fy will still be positive. So Fx will be negative adjacent hypotenuse cos 2 cos 30, and Fy will be sine opposite hypotenuse and be positive. Usually in mechanics, if they're giving you 30 degrees, it's because it's got a surd form. But these calculators sort that out for you. So we've got, minus 2 cos 30. So that's minus 1.73, which is minus root 3 newtons. And this one will be sine 30 will be half. I know that one of them is root 3 over 2, one of them is a half, so that's just going to be plus 1 Newton. And then part C, again we're keeping Y and X positive on the vertical and horizontal. This time the force is acting down here. That's 45 degrees. That's a 5√2 Newton force. So my X is going to be negative, and in this case my Y will also be negative. So Fx will be negative cos again, and this time 5√2 cos 45, and Fy will be negative 5√2 sine 45. And cos 45 and sine 45 are the same, and they're 1/√2. So as you'll see when I type this one in, negative 5√2, cos 45, I get negative 5. And it'll be the same for that one as well. Okay, so this is what we're going to be practicing a lot of as we work through this unit.